Gillian Robertson, how are you?
I'm doing great. Super excited. A couple days out from fight night.
What's fight week like? I know I asked you this last time you were on. I mean, is it always the same, or do you try to like change it up a little, whether it's the time you work out or where you walk around, or how do you handle it?
It's been a little bit different these last two camps because I've had a little bit stricter of a weight cut. And this time it's even a little bit more different because I brought my dog with me. So I've been just keeping, I guess, a regular schedule. I try to keep my fight or my training time around when I would fight. This is an early card, so I'm usually training in the mornings or around midday whenever we can fit it around media stuff. And just getting to work.
I thought I had a couple really big important questions, but it's now all changed. So the most important question is, what kind of dog?
He's a Chihuahua, a long-haired Chihuahua. I actually just adopted him 3 weeks ago.
Have you had a dog before?
This camp has actually been a big struggle for me that I did lose my dog, and he was a 14-year-old pit bull, and he was my absolute best friend in the whole world. So it was definitely heartbreaking, but I needed that puppy energy in my life.
Absolutely. So I tell this story from time to time. I travel a lot. I travel with the UFC. I travel with the NFL, blah, 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 blah. My wife wanted a dog. I've never been a dog person. So we went to the Humane Society through a mutual friend. They call me up. They go, "We got your dog." I go, "What do you mean you have my dog? I don't even know what kind of dog I want." They go, "Trust me, we have your dog." So we go down on a Saturday, and it's a Yorkie poo. And so we brought it home on Saturday. I had to bring it back on Monday for shots and blah, 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 blah. When I bring her home on the Monday, I go to Subway. And then I called my wife and I said, "Honey, I just became one of them. I carried the puppy into the Subway. You know, I didn't drive home and take the dog home and then go to Subway. I became one of them. So I guess I'm one of you now."
I never thought I would be a small dog owner either. Like I said, I had a 14-year-old pit bull who was about 65, 70 pounds. So now going to an 8-pound dog, it's just more fitting for my Miami apartment and also helps like for travel situations. I'm lucky that I was able to bring him where my other dog, I couldn't really bring him anywhere because he was just too big.
For sure. And the 8-pound, and I think our Yorkie poo's like 5, thinks it's an 85-pound dog.
Oh yeah, this one has a bigger attitude than my pit bull did. It tries to, any big dog it sees, it starts barking, trying to go after it. I'm like, what are you going to do if it actually comes over here?
Exactly. Speaking of pit bull, let's talk about a different type of pit bull. One of my closest friends, Dean Thomas. Tell me a little bit about him.
Oh gosh. Dean's someone that I've worked with since I was 16, and I feel like he's just an innovator of the sport, and nobody has a mind like him, and I'm blessed to have a coach like that.
Nobody has a mind, whether it's mixed martial arts or anything else like Dean, that's for sure.
Exactly. I actually just got off a podcast with him a couple of minutes ago, and we were just talking about how he has like 7 jobs. He's working everything.
Do you get upset? Because to be honest with you, I do. I try to make sure that pronunciation, all that stuff is right. Do you get upset when people call him Din?
I get Gillian all the time too, so I feel like I don't get upset when people say my name wrong.
Well, okay. I'll get upset for both of you moving forward.
Thank you. I've had it even in UFC fights. Commentators have called me Gillian, so it's definitely a common occurrence.
I had a friend of mine that played for the Buccaneers, and his name was Jorge Diaz. And the Buccaneers over the MC, the PA, now playing George Diaz. So we're playing golf one day, and I said, "What is your name?" And he goes, "Does it matter?" I go, "Yeah, it matters. What is your name?" He goes, "It's Jorge, but everybody calls me George." I helped make the NFL start to call him by his right name of Jorge. That's my one claim to fame.
And Randy's really good friend, Jorge Giselle, out of
You're such an idiot.
out of Cincinnati, the UFC legend.
You're an idiot. It's George Gagelle.
Jorge. So look, Randy got crucified earlier from Loretta Swit from the TV show MASH when he pulled up Wikipedia facts that were wrong. So I'm hoping that you're originally from Ontario, from Niagara Falls. Is this correct?
Yes, it is.
So I'm sitting here looking at the back of my Jeep Gladiator. Inside of it, I have a rain barrel. It's a Chuck Liddell ice tub that I carry around mobily. And what's old is now new again. The Titanic is dominating the airwaves as we
That's
speak.
not right.
But have you, being an adventurous, like, would you ever go over the Niagara Falls in a barrel? Which is something you would do, because there's been over 5,000 attempts. Only 16 people have survived. What, are you an action, like, thrill seeker in real life?
If you give me permission, I'll fire him right now.
Oh, that's a great question, Randy Harris.
I don't think that's something that I would. I don't know. It's just there's too big of an actual death risk there. I've definitely I've went skydiving before and I've went shark diving before, and I feel like those are the two biggest, I guess, thrill-seeking things that you could say that I've done. And even those just don't compare to fighting for me. So I don't. I feel like there's no thrill like stepping in a cage.
I'm trying to think which I would do, and I'm thinking neither.
What's that?
No barrel and no. Well, I've been in the cage, but obviously not to fight. Just
You've
to.
grown up in Niagara Falls. You probably you know the legendary story
Of course.
and the people and the attempts and
Well, I'll ask you it this way, because I've stood in that corner right there, and I've thought, what are these morons thinking that get in a barrel and dive off this thing? Have you ever thought that as you're standing right there at the falls?
That's a very, very long fall. That's what I'm usually thinking.
Yeah.
That's a very high drop. So yeah, I don't know what I guess I don't know what's running through somebody's mind to even want to do that.
Let's talk about what's at hand Saturday night. When we've started, fighters have told us. I'm trying to think how to even say this. That Saturday is like a birthday party. You know, I used to say, is it like the start of summer vacation? And more fighters are saying, no, it's like a birthday party. It's like a New Year's Eve party. So let's talk about the birthday party / New Year's Eve party Saturday. Give me your thoughts on Tabatha and the fight at hand.
She's definitely a tough opponent. I don't think she has any clear ways to finish me. I think on the ground, though, is where she's strongest, and I don't think she's going to give me any issues there, since that's my specialty as well. I think that I don't know, my jiu-jitsu is definitely going to be a next level, and the last time I fought a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt was when I got my first TKO, so I'm hoping we can see more of that this Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. And you briefly mentioned it earlier. It's a different start time on Saturday. So what goes into that preparation-wise, whether it's, time to get to the arena, but how will that affect, your overall performance on Saturday?
Oh, nothing affects my performance when it comes to start time. Like when we were in Abu Dhabi all through COVID, I think the start time was 3 a.m. over there for the fighters. So no matter what time it is, if it's 3 a.m., if it's 11 a.m., if it's 5 p.m., I'm going to be ready to go.
But does that change like sleep schedules, and do you have to start weeks out, or is that something, granted you're East Coast, so you're used to getting up at whatever time, but is that something that you have to kind of like slowly process that, I'm going to need to get up earlier, I'm going to have to go to sleep later or whatever?
For this fight, not really, but for the fights like in Abu Dhabi, then at that time I was out there, I pretty much stayed nocturnal. I was just, we scheduled my training sessions to be, I think it was at like 8 p.m., and then my second one was at 12. So I was active through the night more.
I'm getting blasted on social media, which is a normal occurrence, but people hate this noon start. I'm like, I love it. It'll be over by 6 or 7. I can be asleep by 9. The other times, I'm falling asleep. It's 11 o'clock. The main event hasn't even started yet. So just from a total, my standpoint, I love the early start time.
I wish every card started at this time. I'm usually in bed by 6 or 7 p.m., so this is a good time for me.
Exactly. How will you relax? How will you and the team over the next couple of days? Obviously, there's things that you still need to do, the media obligations today and maybe another workout or two, but how will you try to relax and not think about the birthday party on Saturday? Or is that something that you want to dwell on?
Oh, yeah, just cut out for a second. Sorry.
Internets and Skypes and radio stations, old school. I was asking, what will you and the team do over the next couple days? Obviously, you may have another workout, you have the media obligations today, but how will you try to relax and not think about Saturday? Or is that something you want to dwell on, that, the birthday party on Saturday?
too much downtime, I feel like, at the hotel. So I'm getting in one workout a day. My calories input is pretty low, cutting weight right now. So, yeah, it is a lot of thinking about it, a lot of studying. I like to watch my opponent a lot, just visualize what it is to see that person across the cage from you, and just really immerse yourself in this for the next 3 days until you do actually face them.
Final question, what goes through your mind as you're walking to the octagon, fight day, fight night, whichever?
I think once the walk starts, nothing. Before the walk, there's 100 thoughts going through my mind. Everybody definitely gets nervous, and everybody's thinking, oh, like, what if this happens? What if this happens? But then the second my walkout song starts, I swear, it's just like focus, 100% zoned in, and we're ready to go.
Awesome. Gillian, thank you very much for your time. I know we have your address. We're going to send you a care package from 8 Man Strong, as well as some cool stuff from Bucked Up Energy Drink as well.
That was great talking to you guys today.
Great talking to you. Have fun on Saturday. Gillian Robertson, a protege of, I'd like to say my brother, but he's more like my son, or you're smart ass when you say grandson. I still take credit for Dean Thomas and everything that he's doing in the rest of his career.
Yeah, even his comedy career.
I want to go see him.
We have to go. I want to open.
First of all, there is no we.
I'll drive.
There is no we.
Take the barrel.
There is no we.
Should I be in a barrel taking the back door?
There is no we. But I do want to see Dean. We'll go see, Steve and I are going to go see Adam Hunter in 2 weeks in Vegas. Wonder who he'll have open for him. But Dean was a guest on our show, first interview he ever did, or so he says, at Tampa Bay Buccaneer training camp.